Hello everybody, today we're going to be talking about the new Primal Lord that for me personally has opened up on my server. If it's opened up a little bit earlier for you or later, don't worry, this is something that you can use to improve your future runs or the next runs that you'll maybe do, anything like that. In any case, let's get straight into it. So first and foremost, as you could tell, the Alpha Bear is the second world boss that we have now have access to, I guess. We are going to be given, I believe, a third one, or there is one that's being announced somewhere in the workings, something to that extent. But in terms of what teams are really strong, you can already see from the tips that they tell you to take your tanks and tell you to take your range DPS, which is probably never going to change. But in terms of the actual DPS, or I guess what changes to the Alpha Bear may make you change what characters you use, you can look no further, or you could look no further than his kit to kind of see what they're trying to tell you or trying to lean you into in terms of what utility characters and what DPS to take. First and foremost, it says that he has a swarm that he throws and you take more damage after like a certain period of time. It's kind of similar to the Necro Draken's like scaling more and more DPS, like you just keep getting hit by AoEs. And again, this is not just his ultimate. He has a bunch of opportunities to just throw honey at you, dealing damage, and also, which is also a bit unfortunate, it does decrease your healing by 80% if he hits you with the honey, and it can't be dispelled. Furthermore, it does also make it so that, again, he does a lot of damage, I believe, next to him, right? Oh, no, sorry. So when you aren't near him, if you are all in the backline or something, he does a big AoE, which is, of course, very nice for preventing people from only using range compositions, but that's totally fine because there's got to be some variety to the world boss. And then there is also, like, long story short, a lot of these are just damage dealing skills. Now, the reason why I bring up the skills and why the skills aren't just pass-buyable is basically what you read in the first couple seconds, which is that he does reduce the amount of healing that you get, which then insinuates that maybe you should use something like Corrin, who I do think is going to be really good specifically for this fight, alongside other non-super specific healer compositions, or not super dedicated healers, akin to someone like Hewin. Now, that isn't to say that you can't use the Hewin, but it does feel, basically because it is not only a DPS rush and it's not something where you just need to survive forever, like in pushing in the AFK stages or something with Hewin. Since that's the case, it does feel like someone like Raynor, who of course is a bit of a luxury character, and if you don't have Raynor, I'm sure that you could get away with Coco. But if you don't have, or if you do have Raynor, I do think that Raynor presents himself to be pretty good here, not only because you can do bonus damage, and this is kind of a DPS check kind of boss. I do actually think that the generally agreed upon, or one of the stronger PTR previous teams to beat this boss was Smokey, Thorin, Vala, Corrin, and Raynor. But as you could tell, my Corrin is legendary, so I'm not going to use Corrin for this boss, and rather I want to show you the team that I used to get 13-ish million on this on my first try. When I did use the team that you're seeing right here, I only got about 12.5, and of course, before anything else, just as a disclaimer, imprints are always more important than any composition, really, just because, you know, no stats equals you instantly die. But in terms then of what I found to be the most relevant or the most important or what still works is the classic, pretty much you slam this into any Dream Realm boss team, which is the Coco Cisia team. There is really no difference, or the Coco Odie team. There's really no difference between the performance of these characters here and something like, again, the team that I just showed you. Arguably, you could perhaps swap out someone like Odie for Vala once he drops below 50% health, because then he starts doing, or Vala specifically starts doing more damage. But in terms of that, I didn't actually feel that much of a difference between the Coco and the Raynor, at least from the setup that I have. My Coco is the same exact level or imprint level as my Raynor, which is kind of surprising, because then you would assume that based on that, Coco and Raynor would kind of, or Raynor would outpace or outscale the Coco, but it didn't actually feel that way at all. Now again, to be clear, I would love to give specific free-to-play advice, but I haven't even gotten to that, or gotten to this point on my alt yet, or I haven't gotten to recording yet. I don't actually even know if I have this unlocked. I don't know what the exact specifications for unlocking this boss are. But when I get to that, I'll let you guys know. That being said, for the free-to-play teams, what I can hypothesize and what I can theorize is that since Corrin is someone that a lot of people may have put into their initial wish lists, if you do have him, I think he's really, really good. Not just because some random PTR guide told you so, but because he does provide a shield, and of course, since you're losing out on healing through the reduction of the honey, providing shield specifically through Corrin's abilities is really, really nice. There's a reason why they use him on the PTR. They're not wrong. Sorry, it was not supposed to be a jab. That being said, I do think that in terms of DPS, it's really difficult to outpace or out DPS someone like Odie specifically, rather, just because, especially once you get his mythic equipment or his mythic plus exclusive equipment, you add up all the free damage that you get with him. It's absolutely bonkers. That being said, if you also want to use Marilee, Marilee's also a super, super insane DPS, specifically for this fight. But as a lot of people have duly noted, especially with the last boss, if you are someone that ends up getting a Supreme plus Vala, especially now because she's in the general rate up banner, there's a chance that, you know, that ends up being better for you below 50%. And that's ultimately what matters the most if you're trying to get your name on the gravestone. Let's see how this run pans out, though. I have the Odie, Ceccia against Smokey is going to be providing buffs and also doing a little bit of healing. Now, like I said, because we do have someone in the front, it does make it so that this run isn't quite as sketchy. It's, you know, it's not as though we're going to be taking infinite amounts of damage. Apologies. But yeah, as you can see, he's throwing out damage to the backline, and it's not going to do a whole lot until the Mega Swarm starts coming by and until he basically starts scaling. From what I could tell, and similar to what it felt like with the Lone Wolf, at some point, like, the boss just kind of ramps up to the point where you can't really out-sustain or heal him. For me specifically here, it was when my Thorin started to die, and even though I am at about 13 million, as you can see now, all my characters are basically getting flung honey at, and I'm about to get one shot, and that was it. I only survived 34 seconds. But that being said, that was with the Coco team. And although I wish I could show you my other run, and I'm only top 7 on this specific run, you can take a look at the damage charts and kind of see just how relevant it felt. Coco, or Odie specifically, may not be the best DPS here for what it's worth. But trust me, guys, you don't want to see what it looked like when I put Vala in here. At least for this. And again, just to be clear, my Vala was, you know, my Vala is also on the Supreme Plus side. I've got a lot of investment in my Vala, but it just felt like when you're below 15 or when you're below or above 50%, it feels like she scales off a little bit poorer. That being said, again, unless if you're competing for the top 20 slot, this is just a really good opportunity for you to get powder, and great, because honestly, the powder's cool. But in terms of the rewards, if you're curious about it, you do gain the same rewards as last time, the pulls and powder and etc. and the random title. But if you do end up being in the top 200, you gain a frame, which looks pretty cool. I'll show that in a second. But also, there's the new Bear Hunter title, which would look great with my wolf one, assuming that I get it, alongside some of the red exclusive equipment upgrade things. And if I just show off this real quick, take a look at the frame for the bear. Wait, is it not in here yet? Oh, there it is. Here is the frame, which, I don't know, maybe it looks better if it wasn't my face right there for you guys specifically. Anyways, yeah. Anyways, yes, that sounds good, looks good. But yeah, hope you guys learned something, took something away from this video. Wolf, or the Alpha Bear, has just spawned on my server specifically. If it takes a little bit more time for you, that's okay. It just depends on when your server was created. It opens depending on the time spent past your server's creation. So whatever that is for you guys, that's cool. But feel free to use these tips to, I guess, make the most out of your fight. Again, you don't want to miss this fight at all any day, just because it does give you an additional source of powder. And I know a lot of you guys need powder, especially to start, you know, scaling up into the late game as you are starting to do things like the Abyss Tower, or try to get to the Abyss floors. In any case, though, guys, that's going to be it for this video. Thanks again for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to like, comment, turn on the notification bell, and subscribe. Let me know what teams you guys have been using for Alpha Bear. And I'll be sure to let everyone else know if you have any good ideas. But yeah, thanks again, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Good night.